Take out your time. Or you're drinking tea. So, what's the tea? Alright, you just want to get into it. Hey guys, so today's a little bit different video. Eliza's on vocal rest today. So I'm going to do most of the talking, and Eliza will chime in, I guess, and let me know when she wants to say something, or agree, or disagree, or whatever. So let's see, we'll figure it out. She's drinking her tea, so. But anyway, today we wanted to talk real quick about the, well, how should we put this? So today we want to talk about the cheapest way you can own and operate a vehicle, and we're going to do it on a monthly basis. So you can do it annually or whatever, but we're going to do it monthly just so we can compare different things. Cool. Sound good? Alright, cool. So let's just kind of break down the first things about owning a car. So let's take into account all the things that we have to pay for when we own a car. So you have the car itself, which you have to buy, obviously. So let's just assume that you already have the car. So what other expenses do you have? Well, you have to pay for gas, you pay for insurance. You do have to have insurance to drive in the US. And you have to pay for repairs and oil changes and things like that. And those are the main things. I'm not counting like any cosmetic things you want to do or like car washes or anything, but you can also throw those in too. But for the purposes of this, I'm not adding that. So those are the main expenses that you have for a car. So you have to think about the different ways that you can actually own and operate the vehicle. So one of the ways is you can buy it outright. That's kind of the most straightforward way. Or you can lease it, which basically means you're leasing the car from a dealership or whoever, and you drive it for a certain period of time. Usually it's like 24, 36, 48 months, whatever the term is. And then you basically have to be under a certain mileage limit, so like 12,000 miles or whatever. And then if you do all those things, then at the end of your term, you just basically flip them the keys, and then you just get another vehicle after. The problem that you run into with leases is that they can be pretty expensive. The average lease in the United States is about $450 a month. However, that does cover like any repairs or things like that, because you just take it and get it done, that's it. And you also you obviously don't have the purchase price. You're paying a monthly fee instead of buying the vehicle outright. You do have the option at the end of the lease to buy it outright, but I would never recommend doing that because you're always going to end up paying way more for the vehicle than if you had just bought it outright. So that's kind of not the smartest thing to do in my opinion, but it is an option. So those are some of the things with the lease. And then usually if you go over the mileage limit on a lease, every mile after you're charged like a quarter or whatever. So there's a penalty if you go over that limit. So keep that in mind as well. But that's, so far we have, you can buy it outright, you can lease it, or you can also get a loan. Literally, it's like getting a loan on a house or whatever. You take out money from the bank and pay interest on the loan until you pay it back, and then after you pay off the loan, you own the car. You have to pay for repairs. It's literally like you own the vehicle. You're just making payments on it. So you have all the regular expenses of owning the car. You're just paying interest on it, and then once you pay off the car completely, just like your house, then that means you own it outright. And you can do whatever you want with it at that point. So those are kind of the main things you can do with cars. There's probably a few other like other things you could do if you really wanted to, but 99% of people are going to either do one of those three things. So I'm a kind of a nerd, and I like to break down these numbers like on a monthly basis. So the number one cheapest way to own and operate a vehicle, from the numbers that I've seen, is to buy a used car outright and then pay all of your insurance, gas, yada yada, all that. And that will get you anywhere between like a $200 a month payment to a $300 or $400 a month payment, depending on what car it is and then what your insurance is. If you can get your insurance down, then then you can get a pretty good monthly rate on that. So like I pay roughly about $200 a month or so to own and operate the vehicle. That includes every expense, which doesn't happen necessarily on a monthly basis, but you kind of average it out over the month. So that's pretty good. The average cost to drive, own and operate a car in Georgia is like $488 a month. So it's not too bad. If you get like a German kind of car, or some of the European cars are going to be really expensive. So Honda, Toyota, those are some of my favorite brands. And they're also some of the car brands that have the best resale value. Those are really good. Get a used car in like that $5,000–$10,000 range, and then you can sell it for in a few years if you want, and it'll retain most of that value. So you're not really paying too much in lost value. So like if you buy a $10,000 Honda, let's say, and it goes down to $7,000 after you've driven it however many thousands of miles, then when you go to sell it for that $7,000, you're really only out $3,000. So you take that $3,000 and then add on to the expenses. So that's why you want to make sure your car retains its value as much as it can. The one thing about cars that's really like frustrating and annoying is that they'll never go up in value unless you buy like a collector car. So you're really just trying to minimize how much money you lose, because you're pretty much guaranteed to lose money. You just want to minimize that as much as possible. So that's what we're trying to do. So then you have the lease car route where you pay a monthly fee, which is, some people think is nice because you kind of everything is taken care of it for you, as long as you pay the monthly lease fee. So that's again going to average about $450. Sometimes it'll be more, sometimes it'll be less, depending on the car that you get. But again, when you get a lease, definitely try to get the lower end cars, because the higher up car you get, like a BMW, Porsche, all those are very expensive, and you're going to have to get a really good insurance policy on the lease, because they get a comprehensive set of policies. So keep that in mind. Your insurance costs are going to be really high on a lease, and you're basically capped at a certain mile limit and things like that. So you want to be definitely checking those numbers for sure. The loan route is fine, but you are obviously paying interest. You're going to pay more for the car if you actually pay for it outright. So if you buy a $20,000 car but you loan it at a 3% interest rate, then you're going to end up paying a little more than $20,000 in interest. But you will own the car at the end, which is nice. So you can do what you want with it after that. So that's not a bad option. You just kind of have to run the numbers to see which one you like. So again, in my personal opinion, I think obviously number one, if you can save up and pay for a car with cash, there's no better way to do it than that. Gives you peace of mind. You know that you own it outright. Even if you get like a older vehicle, like I have a 2007 Honda CR-V, and it runs pretty well, and it's got low mileage. That's the thing. Even if it's older, if it has a low mileage and it's a good brand like that, then you usually are going to be pretty good. You just want to make sure you keep it up and your oil changes, and make sure you get the they have a mileage for every set of miles. They recommend you change things out. You want to make sure you do that. A dealer would tell you that, but if you own it yourself, you kind of have to keep track of that. But it runs great, and that's probably the cheapest way to do it. I don't think you can really get much cheaper than owning a car and then paying your insurance, which for me is pretty low, especially if you're in a low insurance state. And then you have your gas and all that. I don't really drive around that much, so my gas bill is not too much on a monthly basis. Those are some of the tricks that you can do for that. Lease is fine. You're probably going to end up paying a little more on a lease, but if you think it's worth it, and you get like a Honda CR-V or a Corolla or something, those are not too bad if you lease them. So you can go that route, as long as you're willing to pay for the extra expense and the insurance. And then the loan is fine if you really want something and you just can't immediately pay for it. I mean, I would always tell you to just wait and save up for the money and then pay for it outright. Now, if you're trying to get like a $100,000 car, then you're probably not going to be able to save that cash up pretty quick. So, but at that point, it's like, I don't really know if you should be getting a $100,000 car anyway. So, but that's just my opinion. I think you want to stay away from the loans. You want to stay away from debt. So I would probably pick between the lease and the buying car, with buying car being the clear number one for me. You just want to be careful with the lease and not get too in and over your head. So those are some of the tips and some of the things you can look out for when buying a car. And yeah, thanks for checking out the video. This is kind of a short one. Just want to give you a few tips and hopefully we'll both be back and ready to go at full strength next time. So thank you guys, and be sure to like and subscribe and comment and all the good things, and we'll see you next time. Bye. I'm gonna hack it. I think Eliza's falling asleep with the tea. I'm gonna go for the other brands. Some of the other brands, especially the German cars, are gonna be very. Oh, like all I see is this. Like all I see is. It's just funny. We're gonna get through this one. Eliza took a break for a second. Ay, ay, ay.